Welcome back to Cross Arsenal Podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to brand new video. Arsenal take on Bournemouth this weekend on Saturday, and we're going to be diving into that preview. We're going to be diving into that game. A couple of injury boosts that we're having. Obviously, TROSSARD is coming back, but of course I want us to talk about the starting goalkeepers. There is a huge debate. We've not had the debate, by the way, recently. Of recent, David Raya becoming our number one. How impressed are you with David Raya, especially in his performances in the Champions League, in the Premier League as well, and in the North London Derby? Would you want Aaron Ramsdale to be back? Would you want him to continue in goal after that very good midweek performance against Brentford? And of course, up front, what are your thoughts on Nketiah and Gabriel Jesus? Now, Mikel Arteta is insisting on using them interchangeably, probably to manage the injury of Gabriel Jesus, to make sure that Arsenal can have him for a longer period of time without that injury scare. But I don't think Eddie is providing us with what we're supposed to be getting, with what we have to be getting from him, especially as a centre forward. So we're going to be diving into my predicted 11 before Mikel Arteta gives us that final team news. What should the starting lineup look like? Because honestly, I think this is an easy game. And I'm going to be diving into why I think it's an easy game. We're going to be talking about Bournemouth this campaign. They are not yet there. They're not yet at the level where they would feel a little bit, confident. I don't think they are confident. They have not won a game, a single game this campaign so far. And as well, they've picked up 3 points. They've only won, one game that is in the Carabao Cup. So if you're Arsenal and you've played Tottenham Hotspur and you've dropped points at home, this is the perfect game. This is the perfect fixture for us to go and pick up 3 points and bounce back and get back on onto winning ways. But also, Arsenal's next 3 fixtures are going to be Arsenal's next 4 fixtures, starting with Brentford, which we've played away. Bournemouth is going to be away from home. FC Lens in the Champions League is going to be away from her as well. And then Manchester City will be at home. So we have 3 fixtures on the road and 1 at home. So we need to bounce back, and we need to bounce back quicker. And for me, there is not a better game. Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium. We've got to win this one. So talk to me in the comment box below. Do you think Arsenal will get the 3 points from the Vitality Stadium tomorrow at 5 p.m.? Talk to me about the starting 11. Of course, when Mikel Arteta gives us that final, team news, then we'll be diving into who starts where, the key battles as well. We'll talk about in this one as well. Right. So let's get into it. Bournemouth are pretty much a scary side, but this season, I don't think they have really hit the levels they want to be at. Last season, you remember at the Emirates Stadium, they gave us a huge problem. They really caused a lot of problems for us, because what happened is they came and led that game at the Emirates Stadium 2-0. And Arsenal really struggled. We fumbled our way around, getting equalizers and finally winning the game. It was a last-minute winner from Reiss Nelson. That game is very monumental. That game is very key, and it really hurts me that after all that creativity, after all that hanging in there, we didn't win the league, because those are games and those are moments that define whether you can win the league or not. And for me, when it came to moments, when it came to decisive moments, when it came to Arsenal showing the team spirit, Arsenal showing the resilience, we actually did it last campaign. But Bournemouth, you remember, is one of the games. One, the key characteristic of that game, they scored very, very early, and they actually scored the earliest goal in the whole of the Premier League last campaign, and that was Philip Billing. So they caught us a little bit off guard, played that ball back across, and Philip Billing was there. It was right from this training ground, right from training. They had trained it, they had practiced it, and they scored an early goal. And then right in the second half, they also got a second one and led that game 2-0. And Arsenal really, especially personally, I kind of felt like that game was away from us. But how we came back to win it, how we came back to pick up 3 points, it's something that you've got to give the boys credit for, and as well Mikel Arteta as well. The substitutions he made to bring on Reiss Nelson as well. And just to stay calm in that game, the way we stayed calm, the way we handled the game, it was beautiful. So it's a fixture that is not devoid of drama. It's a fixture that Bournemouth will look to go, Well, we've done it at the Emirates Stadium. We've led 2-0 at the Emirates Stadium. How about at home? Can we go and create something different? And also, I think we're playing a very different Bournemouth side. This is a Bournemouth side that plays much better football. Yes, they might not have won a game of football yet. 3 points out of the last 6 games. That is concerning. If you're a Bournemouth fan, that is probably concerning. But what is not actually concerning and what is actually very, very motivating for them is the kind of football they're playing and the chances they're having and the shots on goal they're having. So they're averaging at least 14 shots on goal every game. 14 shots on goal per 90. And they're averaging 4 shots on target per 90 as well. It shows that they're not converting yet, right? So you look at that Chelsea game that they drew 0-0. They didn't concede, but they just didn't. They just didn't get their chances into the back of the net, right? So if they had converted any of those chances, they could have won that game, and they should have won that game. In my opinion, Bournemouth, they are to be blamed for them for their demise in that game. And then the other thing why we're playing a very different Bournemouth is how they're doing defensively. So this season, like I said, they've only scored 5 goals. They're not creating as much, and therefore they've not won games. But importantly as well is they have conceded 11 goals only. So that means that they're not even conceding 2 goals per 90, right? They've kept a clean sheet against Chelsea. That is going to be very key. They will look at the performance and they'll go, if you have kept a clean sheet against Chelsea, probably we are somewhere in the development process, right? They have a new manager, and that means that new things are happening at Bournemouth. Everything is new. I don't think we're going to use the same template we used last campaign to beat them. It should be different. The football will be different, and the expectations are going to be very, very different as well, right? So the key point about Bournemouth as we get to Arsenal and what we should do in this game, and probably the key battles and key players, is it's a different Bournemouth side. They love to keep the ball. They love to fight for the ball. They have that fighting spirit, and they're coming off the back of that midweek win, a clean sheet, 2 goals. They'll look to build onto that. I think the new manager, Andoni Iraola, is trying to build a Bournemouth side that is interesting. The fans will tell you they are not winning games, but the side is interesting. The football they're playing is absolutely interesting as well, right? But Arsenal, let's talk about Arsenal. We've talked about Bournemouth enough, and I just wanted to shed for you a little picture of what we are going to face tomorrow at 5 p.m. against Bournemouth. With Arsenal, like we said yesterday, and I talked about it yesterday as well, I don't think we are at our best. I don't think we are playing our best football. I don't think this is the best Arsenal side. I don't think this is the Arsenal that anyone wants to watch, or anyone that watched us last campaign wants to watch. This Arsenal side looks like a continuation of, that 2021-22 season when we had just missed out of the Champions League. If we played like this after that campaign, that was last campaign, it would be okay. But after last campaign, after fluid football, good football, convincing wins, convincing, derby wins as well, and beating Man United and beating Liverpool, and, it was beautiful. It was glamorous. It just doesn't seem the same. Right? It really, really does none. And for me, if you're Mikel Arteta, you're looking at games like Bournemouth, home and away. You're looking at games like Burnley, Sheffield, Luton, home and away, to build that kind of connection and to build that kind of, free-flowing system, in such games. Because you're not going to build it against Tottenham. You're not going to build it against Man United. Not even Everton at the Goodson Park. So this is a game where Arsenal should actually be comfortable. This is a game where we should be trying to connect the dots. If it's Kai Havertz, if it's Fabio Vieira, I have no problem with either of them. They should be trying to fit in, and they should be trying to give us a good display. Not only the win, we need to bounce back. It's an important fixture. Arsenal need to bounce back. We need to get back to winning ways as quick as possible. Especially with Tottenham and Liverpool playing each other, there is a guarantee that one of the teams above us is actually going to drop points, and that should be Liverpool, in my opinion. If they can drop points against Tottenham Hotspur, Arsenal will go ahead of Liverpool. We have a chance to go ahead of Liverpool, or even level points with Liverpool this campaign, right? At the moment. So for me, important game, but I want to see quality football. Right, that is one thing, and that's why on the thumbnail I've written drop Eddie Nketiah. Nketiah should be dropped. The reason why I want Nketiah to be out of this game is simple. It's time for us to play our best 11. Now, we will rotate, and it's very, very important to rotate. But if Mikel Arteta has Trossard, Jesus, and Saka, that should be the starting 11. There should not be any other, formation. There should not be any other starting lineup. And even if Trossard is not yet ready for that game, if Mikel thinks Trossard is not ready for that game, then I'll prefer Emile Smith-Rowe on the left-hand side, or at least Reiss Nelson, one of the two. I kind of feel like Jesus has become accustomed to becoming a centre forward. He's become accustomed to playing as a number 9. I don't see a problem in it. I really don't see a problem in it. I think he's really done well. But my problem with Mikel, and what is actually confusing me, is why does he want to shift Gabriel to the left when we still have options? Emile Smith-Rowe is an option on the left-hand side. I think if you talk about good options, viable options, Reiss Nelson is a viable option, right? And I've just talked about his impact in the Bournemouth game when we played them. When we played them at the Emirates Stadium last campaign. He comes on. It's a tight game, right? It's not even tight actually, because for Bournemouth, they think they've actually won the game. They think it's game over. For Arsenal, you're most probably thinking at least a draw. That is what we wanted at that point, 2-0, right? We were thinking, oh, at least a draw. At least we pick up, at least we pick up a point. And then he comes in, he plays on the left-hand side as well, by the way, and he really, really, absolutely creates a huge impact. A goal and an assist, right? So we've seen what we've seen with Reiss now. So he can play on the left-hand side. He can also play on the right-hand side as well. So I would love for him to start with Gabriel Jesus and Bukayo Saka. The only way Eddie Nketiah gets into this starting lineup if we don't have Trossard, Martinelli, and Saka. If those three are out, well, then it's just viable because you don't have any as many options as you would want to have. But with Saka available, Reiss Nelson available, Emile Smith-Rowe available, and Jesus, I still think Jesus should be the number 9. And on the left-hand side, Emile Smith-Rowe, who had a very good game, by the way, against Brentford, should be starting, or Nelson, or Reiss Nelson. That is what I would say, right? That's what I would say. So with Bournemouth, I think they'll be looking at this game and they'll be minding Arsenal's away record. Our away record is impressive. This season, we've played 3 games on the road and we've not conceded a single goal. It's pretty much like the way it was last campaign, right? Isn't it? So last campaign, we lost at the Goodson Park. We lost to Man United at the Old Trafford. We lost at the City of Manchester, which is at the Etihad. Well, that's pretty much, it, isn't it? We didn't lose any other games, right? Away from home. Just to put that into perspective, that we are actually a much better side at home. We went away to Brighton at the Sea, and we picked up 3 points. And we scored 4 goals in that game. You can imagine Arsenal scoring 4 against Brighton, or at their home ground. Of course, they did pay us back when they came to the Emirates Stadium. This is a question that why are Arsenal not as good at the Emirates Stadium as they are always at home, so away from home? But our away record is something that gives me a lot of confidence that as we come into this game, I don't think Arsenal struggle away from home. We really don't struggle. We are a little bit compact. We always love to stay in shape, and we always try to do our best. We always try to do what the manager instructs us to do. At home, things really become very, very different. So this is the starting lineup you're most likely to see against Bournemouth tomorrow. Ram could be in goal. Now, I'm not really sure whether he will be in goal, and we're going to talk about the starting goalkeepers, right? But Ram could be in goal. Gabi, Saliba, Ben White, and Zinchenko. Rice is most likely to come back. Fabio Vieira, obviously, on the left-hand side of the midfield. Martin Odegaard on the right-hand side of the midfield. Saka is likely to come back. Jesus through the middle. And Leandro Trossard as well on the left-hand side. That is what I would love to see. that is most likely what we will see. Because with Mikel, he has two things. One, he doesn't want to rush players that are coming back from injuries. So I only expect those players with minor injuries to make it to the matchday squad. TROSSARD, Reiss, and Saka. Those are the only players that I think will make it to the starting lineup and the matchday squad. Martinelli, some more time to get better. And then Partey, of course, some more time, right? And I don't think I have a problem with that starting 11. I really do not. I don't have a problem with that starting 11. I still think Mikel as manager has got to find a match consistent starting 11. He's got to go, this is my striker, this is my right winger, like he's done with Saka, this is my left winger, this is my midfield. I think the midfield, he has questions he's not answered. But for now, as we try to answer those questions, that starting 11, Fabio Vieira, Martin Odegaard, and Declan Rice should actually be enough, okay? So the injuries are not a reason. I don't think they're a reason, right? Are not a reason. So we are playing a team that has not won a single game this campaign. And I don't think Arsenal, however merciful, however generous we want to be, I don't think we should be the first team that loses to Bournemouth this campaign. I don't think so. I just don't think so. If you have any kind of quality, if we can put in any kind of quality, we will overrun them. What I saw against them, for them against Brighton last weekend, they take the lead away from home at Brighton, and Brighton, kind of struggle a little bit. I think it's kind of, Europe, right? But in the second half, Brighton blew them away, right? So it's one thing Andon Iraola has to work on, but it's something Mikel Arteta has to capitalize on. You can easily blow Bournemouth out of the water. You can easily blow them, out of the water. They are playing a new system, and I'm happy to tell you that new system has not yet been conceptualized very well, at the Vitality Stadium. So for me, huge game. Because we have to bounce back, we have to chase Man City and Liverpool once again. We have to get back to our feet, but also an easy fixture, right? Look, my prediction in this game is going to be logical, like very logical. They are conceding at least 1.5 goals per 90. They conceded 3 against Brighton. We are much better than Brighton. We have more resources, much better resources than Brighton. Obviously, Brighton are scoring more goals than us at the moment, so you cannot compare them to us when it comes to conversion and chance creation, isn't it? But I think Arsenal will score 4 in this game. 4, right? I think with TROSSARD back, with Saka back, with Rice back, there's a high possibility, it's a big chance that we will score at least 4 goals in this game. It should be the first game in the Premier League that we run riot, right? We need a spark. We need a season spark. Players like Kai Havertz, players like Fabio Vieira, they need a season spark. And for me, Bournemouth, at the moment, is a season spark. If you can't spark your season at Bournemouth, I just don't know, right? I really, really do not know. The North London derby should have been our starting point. You beat Tottenham Hotspur, you've started your season. You have sent a statement, but we just didn't beat them. And sadly, I don't think Tottenham are too good. They were good in that game, but I don't think they are too good as we actually made them, right? I don't think they're as good as we made them look. Like, to be honest. So key players for both sides. Philip Billing for Bournemouth, Dominic Solanke, Dango Ouattara, and Marcus Tavernier. I think with Philip Billing, apart from scoring in the reverse fixture at the Emirates Stadium last campaign, he is more like their main creator and main support striker. So he's that kind of guy that allows them score goals, allows them create chances. He's playing a slightly deeper role this campaign under Andon Iraola, but that doesn't make him any less dangerous. That doesn't make him any less important for Bournemouth. And if you're Arsenal and you're Mikel Arteta, you've got to stop him, right? Our midfield with Rice, I pray Rice is fully fit because Jorginho cannot match Philip Billing and Cook. I don't think they will overrun us in midfield, okay? But I think that I know Declan Rice is going to be back. So Billing is a key player for them. Very, very key player. Ball progression, physicality. Is that Kai, you know that tall, huge midfielder. Wins the ball back quicker, progresses the ball a little bit quicker. He's got that ability on the ball as well. And like I said, he scores goals. He can score a header. He can score one with his foot. He can score one with his chest. He's a very, very important player for Bournemouth. And I'm not surprised that even with arrival of players like, Justin Kluivert, he has stayed in the starting 11 on a regular basis. Now, the other player is Dominic Solanke. So Solanke is their striker. And why Solanke is key for them is I don't think they will have a lot of possession as they would want to have in this game. And it's out of respect to them, but also out of respect to Arsenal. We are much better at keeping the ball, and we are much better at, winning the ball back and distributing it. So Bournemouth will have to play on the back foot. They'll try to stay in shape, probably play a 5-4-1 or a 6-4-0, whatever they play. Whatever they play, they'll have to be disciplined. Now, Dominic Solanke, that is where he poses a big threat. When they sit back in a back five and, add that kind of layer of four, it means that they will be able to absorb the shock and all that kind of quality from Arsenal, and they will need one player to hold that play and cause problems on the spin. That player is Dominic Solanke. Absolutely scary. You know what Fulham had in Mitrovic. What Fulham had in Alexander Mitrovic. That is exactly what you have in Dominic Solanke. Dango Ouattara, scary. Absolutely scary. I think the fastest wingers in the Premier League that scare me, Ouattara is one of them. Ever since Ouattara became a Bournemouth player, I think that was January last year, he's not gone back. He's a quality player. Absolutely quality player. And what scares me, and we are going to talk about the key battles here, but what scares me about Ouattara, speed, accuracy, and most importantly, he's brave. So we've talked about Martinelli and how brave he is. We've talked about Saka and how brave these young boys are. Dango Ouattara will take on Ben White at every chance he gets, and he will try to beat him at every chance he gets, right? So White has got to be in this game. And actually, in my opinion, I would not play Ben White in this game. I would play Tomiyasu probably. I don't know who's better, guys. Talk to me. Who's better? Like 1v1, if you had a really very good winger to defend against, like Salah, like Ouattara, like Olise, probably Matthias França at Crystal Palace, would you prefer Tomiyasu at right back, or would you prefer still Ben White? Because with Ben, I like him. I really, really do. I think he's become a proper right back. But the games like Man United, the Marcus Rashford goal, he's got to do better in those areas. He's got to stand still. He's going to stand strong. And I don't think he's doing that at the moment. Like, to be honest, I don't think he's doing that. I don't think he's doing that. But Ouattara is one to watch and a key player for them because they will try to use the width. And Ouattara and Marcus Tavernier, another player that is going to be very key for them is Marcus Tavernier. We will push them in wide areas. But sadly, they have players and they have the quality to actually exploit the wide areas. And that is Marcus Tavernier and Dango Ouattara. Key players for Arsenal, Declan Rice, Odegaard, and Vieira. That midfield three is gonna be key. So when you just make a flashback, or you flashback in the past when we played them, who are the key players? Partey was a key player, Xhaka was a key player, and Odegaard was a key player for them. Remember the first game that we won, 3-0, Saliba on the score sheet, with a beauty. I think the other goal was scored by Jesus probably, and Odegaard. I think Odegaard scored twice. And Saliba. The midfield is gonna be key because their midfield is not to the level of ours, and they love a battle. They love a midfield battle. So if we win the midfield battle, we will actually win the game. In my opinion, easy, right? easy. We win the midfield battle, we win the game. They win the midfield battle, they actually win the game, right? So Odegaard, Reiss, and Vieira are gonna be very key, but then Alexander Zinchenko is gonna be very key as well. So what we've seen with Zinchenko this season, he allows us create chances. He allows us, progress the ball. He makes us a much better side. And for me, there is no better player at Arsenal right now to play alongside Declan Rice. I don't think there is a better player. It's Zinchenko. They complement each other to magnitudes that I've not seen. And it's gonna be. I'm really scared of the day that Zinchenko is injured and Julian Timber is injured as well, because with Zinchenko and Timber, you can trust Arsenal to have a very, very good midfield partnering with Declan Rice. So Zinchenko is going to be very key as well for creativity, for progression, but also to take that extra load of work from Declan Rice, right? Because Rice is coming back from that little back spasm. So you expect him not to be maybe at his best, or you expect him to be slow a little bit. So much of the ball progression, much of the traveling, much of the picking up the ball and distributing it, it should be to Alexander Zinchenko, as Declan Rice plays a slightly more managed role in this game. I won't be surprised, and I won't care if Rice plays in this game, just controls the game, just make sure that we are in total control, but he's not absolutely brilliant, because I know he's coming from that injury, and probably against Manchester City, he will be much better. He will be in a much better position. Obviously, there is that international break coming up, and it means he's going to play for England. So he's got to get used to playing with injuries and playing at a very, very high level. The key battles in this game, TROSSARD against Max Aarons. Max Aarons is a player Arsenal really wanted to sign a couple of years ago. But if TROSSARD is back, then that battle against with him and Max Aarons is one to watch. The left-hand side, Max Aarons at right back. I think what I hate about Max Aarons is his inability to defend players 1v1. What I like about him is his ability to bombard forward and create chances. So what's going to happen in this game is we will see Max Aarons trying to bombard forward, and therefore TROSSARD has to track back, and then we'll see TROSSARD try to do his thing. Bombard forward is a winger, so he's bombard forward, beat you and create chances, and therefore we'll have to see Max Aarons adapting his game, right? So that's a key battle. Saka versus Carcass as well. Saka played a very good game against Tottenham. I don't know whether you guys noticed that, but that was his best Arsenal game in an Arsenal jersey this season, creating and scoring as well. But these kind of players, Carcass, I don't trade them. I really don't, especially against a high-class winger like Saka. So that's going to be another key battle. Dango Ouattara versus Ben White. Watch out for that one. Watch out for that one. Because White has improved a lot, but he's going to now face a player that fears none, and that is Dango Ouattara. Marcus Tavernier versus Alexander Zinchenko. If Declan Rice is back, then this should be easy, because Tavernier literally plays as a midfielder, and Zinchenko invites inside into midfield. So this one should be an easy one for Alexander Zinchenko to deal with, especially with the support of Declan Rice. But should Marcus Tavernier decide to play out wide, problems, absolute problems for Alexander Zinchenko. There will be problems. There will be problems there. But I still think Zinchenko will be all right. I really, really think Zinchenko is going to be all right, and he's going to be a very, very key player for us in that game. So the last debate about this preview is who starts in goal, right? My prediction, I've already said, Arsenal 4, Bournemouth 1. Yeah, look, I'll just give them a go. I just give them a go, right? I just give them a go. But who starts in goal? And that comes from you guys, doesn't come from me. Talk to me in the comment box below. Who should Arsenal and who should Mikel Arteta select in goal? Ramsdale, like I said, very good performance against Brentford in midweek. David Raya, I've been impressed. I've really been impressed. But I don't think he's done too much out of the extraordinary to go, well, Ramsdale should never start again. I I don't think so. And I know many people are deluded. Many people are literally in love with David Raya, and some people are just generally in love with the idea of change. I think I'm gonna say this, right? I'm gonna say this. Raya has done well, but it doesn't mean that Ramsdale is actually deteriorated. I don't think so. I think both of them have given us quality, and Mikel Arteta has now a huge task to decide who starts in goal and who doesn't. So talk to me in the comment box below. Who starts in goal and who doesn't, because that is the next part of this preview. Right. Mohammed has given me his starting 11. He says Raya in goal, Saliba and Gabriel at centre back, Zinchenko and Tommy at full back, Jorginho, Odegaard, Emile Smith Rowe, TROSSARD, Nelson, and Jesus. So you're dropping Kai Havertz, you're also dropping Fabio Vieira, and you're playing TROSSARD, Reiss Nelson, and Saka, and Jesus. So he's rotating Saka as well. I would want Saka to be rotated, to be honest. Boma says, hi Cossy, I'm waiting. Please talk about Nelson playing right wing. I'm going to talk about that. Don't worry. Emma says, Cossy, please help me talk about the Timber injury. Well, so many people have asked me about the Timber injury, and the reason why I don't talk about it is because it's a long-term injury, and there is really nothing to talk about, I should say. I mean, what do you talk about when the official announcement is the player is going to be out for quite some time? We're hearing 5 months, 6 months. Now, there is talk, and there is what should I say? There is information that he could come back as early as April or May, right? He could come back as early as April or May. There are also some suggestions that Julian Timber could come back by March. But those are really, I would say those are working models of the media. And the media always proposes working models because they literally have to make money. They literally have to write something. They literally have to sell you something, right? So they'll have to tell you he will be back in March. But honestly, is he going to be back in March? No. He might be better. He might be in a much better position by March. And Mikel Arteta might actually decide not to rush him. And again, it will depend on how badly we need him, right? If Saliba maybe picks up an injury, God forbid, if he does, right, just playing devil's advocate, then we might have to rush Timber. But if Saliba can play 38 games this campaign, and Gabriel can play for the rest of the campaign, then maybe Mikel will feel like, maybe I don't need to rush him. Maybe I don't need to, put him under a lot of pressure, right? But with Timber, just give it some time. We can start talking about Julian Timber as soon as the January transfer window is over, right? So we can talk about Timber as soon as February. If it's February, then I'll give you an update. But now, November, December, we're getting into October as well. You expect me to say nothing, like absolutely nothing, right? But of course, guys, I'm not saying he won't be back quick. I'm saying it's not an easy injury, and it's not one where we have a lot of information about him. It's none. Augustine says, how about Declan Rice? Is he fine for tomorrow's game? Declan will be available. It will depend on Mikel Arteta, but he's all right. He is absolutely all right. In Nigerian time, Bournemouth versus Arsenal, 3 p.m. Oh, you're 2 hours in front, right? You're 2 hours in front. So it's 5 p.m. It's 5 p.m. in East African Standard Time. Shadrach says Ben is good. And better than Tomiyasu. Gaffer says good of you. Muhammad says good morning. Good morning from this side. As far as I'm concerned, I prefer Tommy because of his proper defensive ability. All right. Muhammad says let Ram start ahead of Raya. David Raya starts, says Joseph. Tony says Raya should start. Bashir says I go with David Raya. Tony says Tommy and Zinchenko both start as fullbacks. Tony says Saka should be rested for City. Play Reiss Nelson. And Christopher says yes, Cossy. Bosco says Raya to start. Nelson, Vieira to be given enough time to play in that game. Moses says Ramsdale should start. Bosco says Raya to start. Nelson and Vieira should play. And Geoffrey says Raya should play in that game. Well, look, I'm not really sure what Mikel Arteta is trying to achieve by rotating goalkeepers. But it seems whatever he's trying to achieve is already working. So we have seen David Raya against Tottenham. Decent. Absolutely decent. And it gives you that confidence. It gives you the confident vibes of we have a good goalkeeper. We have a very good goalie in goal. What we saw against Brentford from Ramsdale was pure class. Pure magic. That save against Johan Wissa, keeps us in the game, and it carries us to the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup, where we will play West Ham. So if we beat West Ham, we are 2 games away from winning another piece of silverware in a competition where Manchester City has been, dragged out. So I would say, well, he's successfully created chaos, and he's successfully created an environment where no one is allowed to be arrogant in goal. I don't think David Raya can go, I'm the best goalkeeper at Arsenal, and therefore I don't need to work as much. I don't think Ramsdale can go, I'm the best goalkeeper at Arsenal, and therefore I don't need to work as much. Both goalkeepers are going to be working hard, and they're going to be working as much. But who should start in this game? I was listening to Peter Schmeichel on the UEFA Champions League Golazo channel, and with Mika Richards, Thierry Henry, you know the crew, Kate Abdo. But what I liked about Schmeichel is he literally makes a very good point. He says, with your goalkeepers, you want consistency, you want confidence, right? And is Mikel Arteta really trying to create confidence in his goalkeeping department, or is he trying to create chaos and lack of confidence? I think one goalkeeper should be for the cup competitions. So we could say Ram is for Champions League, Carabao Cup, and the FA Cup. I think Ram will be all right with that. And then David Raya is for the Premier League, because the goalkeeping department is one where emotions just don't work. So you don't want an emotional goalkeeper who makes one save and celebrates it as if he's won the game like Ramsdale. You actually want a steady goalkeeper, a stable goalkeeper, an emotionally stable goalkeeper. And that's why I'll prefer Raya in goal. I prefer Raya in goal because he's a stable goalkeeper. He's not an emotional goalkeeper. And that means that emotions will not get to him, right? With Ramsdale, he's done well in trying to prove his critics and trying to prove a point. He's done very well. But emotions in goal, it is not something that you want to deal with. And that's why I think Ram has got to work on that part of his game. When England fans or English fans shout, "You'll never play for England," he becomes emotional. When he makes a good save, he becomes emotional. He loses concentration, and his performances clearly depend on which kind of mood he is in. I think your goalkeeper should not be like that. Your goalkeeper shouldn't be emotional. You've got to have a stable goalkeeper. And that is what Raya, at the moment in the Premier League, brings to the table. So I would love to see Raya in goal. But of course, my starting 11 will be dropping very, very soon. I know you love that show, and I'll make sure it always comes your way, right? So Ramsdale or Raya, talk to me in the comment box below before we close the show. Who starts? We are not about who's the better goalkeeper. Who starts? As simple as that. Tony says Smith Rowe to be given full 90 minutes. Let's talk about Smith Rowe. I know you want us to talk about Smith Rowe and Reiss Nelson. Now, Smith Rowe had not started a game for Arsenal in 499 days. That's a full year, right? That is a full year. But we've got to reason with Mikel Arteta here. He's not played Smith Rowe in 499 days for 2 reasons. One, he was not available simply. He was injured with a groin. And number 2, it takes time for you to convince the manager that this is I'm your best option in this position, right? So look at Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz has been given the chances, the minutes, and he's just told the manager, I'm not your best option, right? And therefore Mikel has gone, well, I'll play Fabio Vieira. And Vieira has also not yet given us the confidence that he is our best option in that area. But fair play to him, he's done well. It's the same point with Emile Smith-Rowe. TROSSARD injured. Martinelli is injured as well. So as Emile Smith-Rowe, you've got to ask yourself a question. The season before last season, you were Arsenal's best left winger with 10 goals and I think 2 assists, 12 goal contributions in the whole of this season. Why aren't you the natural option? Why does the manager, then drift to Jesus left, Nketiah middle? Why aren't you the manager's next option after TROSSARD and Martinelli? He's got to ask that question. Yes, he played well in the Odegaard role, right? But I don't think he is as reliable as he was 2 seasons ago. I don't think he has hit the standards that he was hitting 2021, 2022. I don't think he has hit those standards, right? So full 90 minutes, maybe that is too ambitious, but I would love him to play a part in this game. I would love Emile Smith-Rowe to start playing games. I would love Emile Smith-Rowe to be involved, just like Vieira is, just like TROSSARD is, just like Odegaard is, just like Tomiyasu is. I want him to be a part of this important core, at Arsenal. Is this a kind of game for Emile Smith-Rowe? Absolutely. Absolutely. Play him left wing, play Saka right wing, and play Gabriel Jesus. This is the kind of game. He's goal-oriented, he loves dribbling, and he loves causing chaos in the penalty area of the opponent. This is the game for Emile Smith-Rowe. With Reiss Nelson, I want to know, how impressed were you with Reiss Nelson in midweek against Bournemouth? I kind of feel like he gave me vibes of, you still need Saka, and you still need Gabriel Martinelli. My problem with players like Reiss Nelson, and this is why I really love Emile Smith-Rowe, by the way, effectiveness. That is the question that Reiss Nelson has got to answer, and that is the one thing he's not done yet. Effectiveness. If you want Mikel Arteta as manager to select you, you've got to be effective, because Saka and Martinelli are effective. TROSSARD and Jesus are effective. So Reiss Nelson at times does well when he comes off the bench. And in that game against Brentford, I thought he could have scored a brace. He could have scored a second goal. And that's the point. Effectiveness. Can he be as effective as Saka and Martinelli? Can he be as effective as Leandro TROSSARD? Right? But I hear you. Instead of playing Eddie Nketiah, Reiss Nelson should be the option. Do we need to rotate Saka in this game? I mean, you could rotate him. I don't think there is a lot of stigma and scare that if you rotated him in this game, then everything would actually fall apart. But I wouldn't really prefer to rotate him. I wouldn't really prefer us to rotate him. I would want him to play in this game. I really, really do. Hi, Cossy. Do you think Kai will be fine? I think Kai will be fine. I really, really think Kai will be fine, by the way. I really feel Kai will be fine. Like, just don't have a doubt. Don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. He will be all right. He will come around. Geoffrey says, what do you think Kai offers different, which keeps him in the starting 11 regularly? I rather use Zinchenko in the Xhaka role. What do I think Kai offers differently? Let's get to the tactics board, right? Because literally that's where I could answer this question better. So Fabio Vieira plays in this role here, right? And that's where Mikel wants him to play, in this pocket of space. On Kai Havertz as well, shot number 29, plays in this pocket of space. So the key role for this position, and why Mikel Arteta created this position, I just hate blue, so I'll just go yellow. Why Mikel Arteta created this position is very easy and very simple. he wants the player playing here, right? So he wants the player in this position to be able to make runs in the penalty area to score goals. Fabio Vieira doesn't have a single goal this campaign, and so does Kai Havertz, right? What Fabio Vieira does very importantly is chance creation. So he drifts into these areas here, and he has those little cutbacks, and he's brave to enter the penalty area, and he's also much better when he's on the ball. With Kai Havertz, he's not much better on the ball, but he's importantly the opposite of Martin Odegaard, because Odegaard drops deep and he wants to drop into these areas and pick up the ball and then progress with it. Kai Havertz is then happy as a player, literally, to not drop deep. So you've seen him at times, apart from the Tottenham Hotspur game where he played very deep, you've seen him so many times in many games where he starts from here. This is his starting point, and he drifts to the left, he drifts into this middle, he drifts into this penalty area, into this space here, and then enters the penalty area. So why Kai Havertz is failing is simple. When he makes these runs into the penalty area, people just don't pick him up. I want, and Nketiah needs to speak about this to the players. They've got to pick him up as many times as he makes those runs. He is our Erling Haaland in terms of making the runs. He is our Erling Haaland in terms of making the runs into the penalty area. There's no question about that. The only question that I have with Mikel is, why is he not cautioning the players that do not see the runs that Kai is making? I want to see Kai Havertz miss chances. What I'm seeing is Kai Havertz being ignored on the pitch. I'm seeing his runs being ignored. The difference between Kai and Haaland, and why Haaland's runs are effective and Kai Havertz's runs are not effective, is the runs of Erling Haaland are utilized by the teammates. So they see him, they play the ball into him, they literally engage with his runs. With Kai Havertz, we don't engage with his runs, right? So we need to start engaging with his runs a little bit much better. Okay, this is Mugutima, who says, I really don't we Arsenal fans, I don't understand we Arsenal fans. The only thing they want is Kai to score goals. But the season has just started. The lad is better than Xhaka. Okay, Tony says we should play Emile Smith-Rowe at left wing and TROSSARD in the number 8, where Kai is playing at the moment. Okay, Tony says Raya should start in the EPL. Ram should start in the UEFA Champions League. Okay, Shua. Is that Shua or Shurewo? Something like that. It says, I mean, you will forgive me when I butcher the names, right? That is Hilakula, right? I think that Saka must be rested, and Raya too for Manchester City game, as well as Odegaard. Play Fabio Vieira and Reiss Nelson and Emile Smith-Rowe. All right. The Prince has given us his starting 11. If you give me a starting 11, I'll display it here for the people to see, right? So he's gone Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, midfield, Odegaard, Rice, and Zinchenko. Strikers, Nelson, Jesus, and Saka. Okay. I mean, it's not bad, is it? It's not bad. I think we have a few players we all agree on that should be starting. All we've got to do is get that rhythm. Can we find the rhythm? Can we really find the rhythm, right? So we'll get to the starting 11. I've seen what you people are thinking about who should start. When Nketiah gives us his press conference, we'll get the press conference reaction live, and definitely we'll do the starting 11, and I'll speak to you right in the next one.